I honestly think I might have like a problem because I love geeking out on the structure of municipal governance. So if you are along for this ride with me, kudos to you. If you're not into it, again, you just need to know who to vote for on May 11th. And obviously, I am a candidate to be your mayor, and I'm discussing now over the last couple of days the tightrope walk that it is to be a municipal government that is made up of two components, really. The council that you elect, which is comprised of all the councilors, the mayor, and the deputy mayor, and then the administration, the staff, the ones who plow the roads and do the work throughout town and do the administrative work in the offices, every smiling face that you see throughout town, who actually serve us, the public, the residents. That is the administration part, which is led by the CAO. Now, yesterday I said I would talk a bit about evaluation of the CAO, but like I said, when I dive into CAO stuff, particularly this book by George Cuff, it is fascinating to me, and I wanted to share with you today more about what the CAO needs to be and do. Now, obviously, because of the job of mayor that I am seeking, that role, when I showed you this before, I'm breaking it out again. How many more times? I don't know. That connection point between the mayor as the one who leads the council and the CAO as the one who leads staff is very important. And this is the political half, and this is the apolitical half, right, of how this government works. Two components of the same team. So what does a CAO, what qualities do they need to have? I did say today I want to talk about evaluation, but what are we evaluating? And again, I get into the weeds on this, and I want to share it with you because the CAO role is so crucial, but I would say most misunderstood. And so, George Cuff here goes through a list of classic landmines for the CAO, he calls them. And so I want to go through this with you so you can understand our CAO role more thoroughly. But then also when George Cuff says, here are the classic landmines of being a CAO, that means a CAO needs to avoid them somehow by being the list, X, Y, Z. So I wanted to share the landmines with you. So the first one that George Cuff discusses is the need for mutual commitment. So basically, like I said, those two halves of the government, there needs to be a mutual commitment, and the landmine would be one half of this hourglass basically abdicating, saying, well, that's your job, that's your job. And when it's not clear, and when there's not mutual commitment as viewing it as I said before, two components of the same team going in the same direction, George Cuff, this municipal consultant, he has been a mayor himself, he has seen a lot of breakdown. So there's a breakdown when there's too much, I would say, enmeshment between council and the CAO and staff. You don't want too much of it, but you also don't want a separation either. It is a bit of a tightrope walk. And so both halves, a classic landmine would be not having that commitment to each other in terms of this is how you work and this is what you are responsible for, and this is how we work and this is what we're responsible for. And both sides of that hourglass need to say that and have that perspective. The second thing, classic landmine, is I think he calls it unleashed egos, right? So if you have a mayor with a huge ego and you have a CAO with a huge ego, or you have many councilors with egos that are there with an axe to grind or a specific thing that they are just there to accomplish, not to work as a team, not to implement the municipal plan, but kind of a single issue person at the table with, major biases and prejudice. And again, we all have bias, so just being aware of them is most important. Well, that's another part of dysfunction. So egos, which, hey, type A personalities may have, we all have ego. Let's not get into Freudism right now. But they all need to be in check. And a lot of that means functioning as a team that trusts each other. The next one is heard on the street. That's a classic landmine where the CAO hears a lot of hearsay and councilors are bringing hearsay. Residents don't understand the processes and procedures that the municipality runs by. And so really this is about explaining and having available procedures and processes, whether that is about complaints, whether that is everything, how water bills go out, how the budget is implemented, the long process of that. People need to understand that. And a landmine would be when things are not communicated well, either by the CAO or the mayor. And so that is another issue. Now, he's got another few things. Inability to connect with, the mayor. So, if the CAO and mayor are not connecting, you are going to see major dysfunction in the community. If you have somebody come into that mayor role and they really dislike the CAO, well, the option is there, as I discussed before, to just invite them to leave, to fire them. Every CAO has a very heavy severance clause in their contract because of such a possibility. The mayor comes in, says, I don't like you, you're gone. Well, that usually costs the municipality $100,000, couple $100,000, that kind of thing. So obviously, ideally, the mayor moves into that position and gets along with, knows how to work with the CAO. Council is the same. Council needs to be able to walk into the CAO's office, open door policy, answer emails, obviously within reason, but the CAO needs to be available. And a classic landmine is not having a great relationship with the council. Another classic landmine he lists out is not having a good relationship, not knowing how to manage the leadership team, the department heads that the CAO oversees. So every department, whether it's finance or recreation or public works or public safety, those are all departments, and the CAO oversees the heads of those departments. And so obviously, if that breaks down, then you're going to see dysfunction throughout the community. Another thing is personal failures, of course, moral or social failures that the CAO may undergo. That is just something that George Cuff warns about. It's nothing that we can do anything about particularly. And then the lack of connection to the community is the other one, where the community feels like the CAO is not involved, it does not care about the town. CAOs often move around. So if a CAO is not invested in the community, maybe even lives outside the community and just says, well, I work there, but it's not really, I'm not into it. Well, that's obviously a landmine and a breakdown that this book warns against. And then the other one is just an unwillingness to take responsibility. Again, I believe that the mayor needs to shine the light on the wins. The wins are other people's responsibility. When something goes well, that's the council. You praise the council, you share the wins. The staff are the ones who do the implementation. But when there is a failure, a shortcoming, which, we see, we feel it throughout the community, what happens? Well, I believe the mayor takes responsibility. But again, behind the scenes, if there is a staff failing, then the CAO needs to accept responsibility in the same way, as opposed to taking it out on their staff. The CAO is ultimately leading their staff and building them up and improving their performance and their confidence and that kind of thing. So put it positively, when you see George Cuff saying these are the landmines of the CAO, when we put it positively, when you see this list, what does the CAO need to be and do? Well, they need to have a strong commitment to the success of the council, because you voted them in, we voted them in, and that is an agenda that the residents want to see carried out. They need to check their ego, as we all do, to work together as that component of this two-part team. They need to not be dissuaded or unmoored or disturbed by hearsay, things that are heard. Now, that can be helpful, but they need to abide by processes and procedures and make those known to the public as well. They need to connect well with the mayor. They need to connect well with the council. They need to connect well with their department heads, working as a team on all of those different bodies and entities, they need to make sure they have upstanding moral character and integrity. They need to make sure that they have a connection to the community, live here, are invested here, want to see the success of the community as a resident. And they need to take responsibility behind the scenes, behind the mayor, when something goes awry, when there's a failing, when there's a mistake, when things are not ideal. Put it like that. When you put it like that, the CAO is not a role for the faint of heart. And so that is what will help a municipality succeed. Now that I feel like, again, I couldn't help it because I was just reading this book and there was a whole list there. I'm fascinated by this stuff. Now we know kind of what to evaluate. So tomorrow, I won't go down another rabbit hole. Tomorrow, I am going to bring to you the idea of how do you evaluate that person. So basically everything I just said, you just kind of shrug your shoulders and go, I feel like it's going okay. I feel like it's not going okay. There's some residents who really don't like our CAO. There's a councilor who really don't. How do you objectively classify how the CAO is doing and evaluate them? Well, there does need to be a regular performance review, and that is what I will share with you tomorrow, okay? Thanks for getting into the weeds with me, friends. I really enjoy it. Hope you are too. It's Thursday, so take care of yourself, take care of your neighbor. Today it's Build Up St. Stephen, and I will see you tomorrow, Friday. Have a great